Hey Z Army! Are you a big fan of the drive-thru to get yourself a burger? Perhaps you also like to slay your enemies from the comfort of your car. For your pleasure, we've delved through the best and worst games throughout history that tickle your road rage. From motorcycles to floating ships, you can strap a cannon to anything. And it's all in this list. Start your engines, cock your guns, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Here are 10 games that make you a motorized maniac. Good old Mario Kart. Just so we've got that one out of the way before we move on to the more hardcore titles. Super Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo is arguably one of the best vehicular combat games ever made. Going strong since the release of the first game in 1992, it has spawned many copycats. But few have been able to replicate the balanced gameplay and that oh-so-important Nintendo polish of the original series. It was a box office success. Eventually, it even became the fourth best-selling SNES title. With its more family-friendly character, it lacks the shock value of the other games on this list. But let me tell you, that blue shell instills more terror than any chainsaw-equipped murder wagon can ever do. It's Christmas Eve 2005. The future, yo! A madman named Calypso has organized the ultimate race, Twisted Metal. Its contestants battle for their ultimate dream, no matter how rare, how costly, and no matter the consequences, because Calypso can grant any wish apparently, like some kind of wizard. Your goal as a player is to clear all 6 levels until no other vehicles are left, using one of the 12 super cool combatants. The idea for the game was conceived when the developers got stuck in a Los Angeles traffic jam while driving back from a meeting that didn't go too well. They imagined themselves getting rid of traffic with guns and missiles. In the words of lead designer David Jaffa, in a potpourri of explosions, a case of twisted minds that led to Twisted Metal. CARMAGEDDON has a strange origin story, as you might expect from a game that shocked the world. It all began pretty innocently with the idea for a Destruction Derby game simply called 3D Destruction Derby. To spice up the product, the publisher wanted to secure the Mad Max license. However, they were not quite able to find out who owned the license. So to distinguish the game from the upcoming Destruction Derby by Psygnosis, they added the possibility to run over pedestrians, like a child seeking negative attention. And to distinguish themselves further from other games that already went too far, they decided you could earn points by killing pedestrians. Sounds a lot like Death Race 2000.
Anyone, any sex, over 75 years old, has been upped to 100 points.
This cult movie was due for a sequel at the time, and the license was obtained. Epic! Until the cancellation of the sequel, which left the developers unsupervised, but with a lot of momentum, which led to the super punny name CARMAGEDDON and murderous insanity that led to censorship in multiple countries. Now, for some of the most extreme vehicles on the list. ROLLCAGE is about flipping, shooting, and driving upside down in indestructible murder trucks. Even though they look like those cute RC cars that you could flip upside down,
take a rebound!
Don't be fooled. These cars are huge. What made this game unique at the time is the possibility to drive your car upside down against the ceiling, opening up a whole range of new tactics. Combined with an original soundtrack by Flippin' Fatboy Slim, this game delivered on all fronts and really stood out at the time of its release. Though the game was well received, the ROLLCAGE series was discontinued after ROLLCAGE Stage 2. However, former ROLLCAGE team members couldn't let their old love die and launched a Kickstarter for a spiritual sequel. which was released in 2018 under the name Grip Combat Racing for some more rowdy, rolling action, and it's 4K gorgeous. It's the year 2112. Earth has been invaded by evil forces. You are Mac Rider. That's all you need to know, baby. Now go kill. Battle yourself through 10 stages of mayhem, fighting evildoers known as quad runners. Mac Rider is not an easy game. You even have to shift gears while shooting your enemies to bits or ramming them against obstacles, which grants you extra points. In some ways, Mac Rider was the inspiration for games like F-Zero. References to the game can be found throughout other Nintendo games like Super Smash Bros. And Mario Kart. The titular Mac Rider even kinda looks like Captain Falcon. Cool feature of this game is the possibility to design your own tracks in 1985. However, the NES wasn't equipped with the right internal storage capabilities, so how do you store your super epic tracks? We present you the Famicom Data Recorder. Only released in Japan, this gadget allowed you to save game data externally on cassette tape. Don't you love games with live action intros? They're pure nostalgia. Road Rash even features music from Soundgarden. That's so high profile we can't even let you hear it because of copyright laws. Imagine the riots if this one wasn't on the list. Road Rash is a classic example of choosing a basic concept and taking it too far. There's even an extensive warning at the beginning of the game, basically warning impressionable young players not to road rash in real life. Thanks for the tip, EA. The aim of the game is to finish in 3rd position at least to advance to the next level, because trying to win outright would distract you from inflicting violence upon your fellow bikers. As you go through the levels, your opposition gets stronger, faster, and harder to beat. But you can also beat them harder as you upgrade your club into a crowbar or even a cattle prod. The game is over when you get caught by police or you're not able to fix your bike. Not only was Road Rash well received because of its concept and technical achievements, it also stands out for being the first game to depict motorcycle-based combat with so much flavor. We love ourselves some Rash. Let's go all the way back to 1976 for some vintage outrage about a violent game. Death Race was an arcade cabinet developed in 1976 as an adaptation of Destruction Derby, where the opposing cars were replaced by humanoid figures that you're now supposed to run over. As you run them over, they change into quaint little tombstones that hinder your movement more and more the more successful you become, adding another degree of difficulty over Destruction Derby. The makers call the humanoid figures gremlins to make it less gruesome, and to deny ties to the movie Death Race 2000. The death in the title, they claim, was about killing zombies who were already dead. Running over death, so to say. But that didn't prevent controversy. In 1976, an article appeared voicing concerns about the content of the game. This was soon followed by other news outlets and an old-timey outrage ensued. Of course, the publicity led to a big spike in sales for Death Race. GTA, get on your knees and thank Death Race for showing the way. Forget about a virus outbreak that destroys humanity. Welcome to the ultimate dystopian future where pro wrestling rules the world. WWE Crush Hour tries way too hard, combining all things rad. Before you've even turned a wheel in this game, you've been overloaded with guitar riffs and digital spark cannons. Each wrestler has their own personalized car design. For example, heavyweight Rikishi drives a steamroller, RVD drives an ATV because it rhymes, and Ric Flair's car even says, "Woo!" And there's more than 30 wrestlers featured in this game. Is this wacky racist gone mental? Reception was pretty mediocre, as you might expect from a budget title that relies so heavily on a gimmick. But oh boy, the testosterone. In Split Second, the car looks sort of normal. Even the roads aren't too unrealistic. And then all hell breaks loose. The races in Split Second are set up as a reality TV show, and the entire city is basically a movie set in which participants risk it all for fortune and fame. As the player does awesome stuff on track, like drifting, jumps, and overtaking, points are built up which allow you to trigger power plays. These are basically Mario Kart's blue shells and bullet bills combined. You can trigger explosions, helicopters dropping barrel bombs, and plane crashes to destroy and delay your opponents. You can basically destroy half of the city for your 15 minutes of fame. With an 8-player online multiplayer mode and 15 tracks full of action and explosions, Split Second was received well upon release. Unfortunately, it didn't do too well in sales, and a sequel was scrapped. Wipeout, one of the coolest games ever. High-tech floating cars, futuristic cityscapes, and pounding techno music. It's Mario Kart from the future. Wipeout was one of the release titles for PlayStation in Europe and is well known because of this, and just for being cool. We don't say it's a futuristic Mario Kart to dig at Wipeout. Nick Burkham, designer of the game, has stated that Mario Kart was one of the biggest inspirations to Wipeout. And this is not a bad thing. Fast action combined with weapons that can either slow down opponents or boost the player is an excellent recipe. Another Wipeout designer, Jim Bowers, had already designed floaty vehicles, so his ship designs were based on his 1990 Amiga game, Matrix Marauders. Add that to the fact that a lot of time and energy went into making the game as cool as possible, and you've got a hit. A design firm was contracted to work on promotional material and even the in-game branding to attract a hip, clubbier audience. It even featured in the 1995 cult hit Hackers. Angelina Jolie pretended to play this game, guys.
That's a nice score for a girl.
This list has us feeling a bit weird inside. Must be motion sickness. Or all the digital gore. Either way, we're a bit queasy. Let us know in the comments if you know a game we missed on the list. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and drive safe.